my last video, I shared how to laser engrave a mirror using a diode laser. Learning the technique is one thing, but using it to make something that you'd actually want to put on your wall is a whole other challenge. As a way of sharing some inspiration and showing what you could do with a mirror and your laser, I decided to turn this extra one into a fun and easy project that you can also make yourself. So stick around, and by the end of this video, you'll learn how to laser cut and engrave your own mirror wall art. Hey, and welcome to my channel. I'm Lena, and if you're new here, I share tools, tips, and tutorials to help you level up your projects. And today, I'm gonna be sharing how I took this ordinary mirror and turned it into this pop art inspired wall piece. This is a pretty simple and beginner-friendly project, so no need to worry. I'll be covering everything from the materials I used to the final assembly and some tips and tricks in between. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, I started this project by sketching out some ideas on my tablet. I use the Concepts app because it helps me to get things from out of my brain and into real life pretty quickly. So I imported this design into xTool Studio, and after playing around with some color options and other designs, I ultimately settled with this one. After taking this design and breaking it down into individual layers, it was off to the laser. I decided to go with 3mm or 1/8" MDF for this project because it's easy to laser cut and has a nice smooth finish for painting. I grabbed my digital calipers to measure out the material and update the design file so that my laser is properly focused. And quick reminder, I will be linking this design file in the description so you can follow along. Now, for the sake of this video, I did use my xTool P2 to save some time to cut out the wood pieces for the frame. But that shouldn't stop you if you don't have a P2. This project will work with a diode laser. In fact, I designed it for a 10-watt laser specifically. Now that all my pieces are cut, using CA glue, I'm going to attach the backer to the front part of the frame because they're going to be the same color. Then I labeled each of the pieces based on the original colors of the design. Now, this part of the project is completely optional, but I decided to sand it to give it a more unique look. Using some 220 grit sandpaper, I rounded out the edges, and this is what it looks like. The next part of the project is adding some color. You can choose to spray paint it, use acrylic paints, or even acrylic markers if you want. I'm gonna go with spray painting. Whichever you choose, I recommend priming because it'll make your colors pop a lot more. While the paint dries, the next step is laser engraving the mirror. Now, I picked these up at my local Dollar Tree, and they're actually sold as candle holders. Hopefully you'll find them there, and if not, I linked a few alternatives down in the description. I created the design file for a 4" or a 4.5" mirror, so if you have one of those too, you'll be fine. And if you do find them, the first step is removing the stickered label on the back and the foam feet. Once the mirror was clear of all the residue, it was time to engrave it. Now, I found that raising the mirror helps to reduce any flashback, so if you're using the M1 and you have the triangular prisms, this would be a good time to use them. Now, since this is a circular mirror, finding the alignment can be difficult, so I created a jig to make this process easier. The idea here is that when you go to frame your design, the laser will run a path directly on the jig, so you'll know it's aligned. Whether or not you're using the exact design, the most important part when laser engraving a mirror is that your graphic is reversed. And now, it's time to engrave. Now with the engraved mirror finished, it's time to clean it up with some alcohol. Since laser engraving removes the backing of the mirror, anything you put behind it will show cleanly through. So I decided to use this glitter cardstock as a way to jazz it up. Using the blade cutter in the xTool M1 and xTool Studio's offset feature, I cut out the cardstock to fit exactly behind the lettering. Now it's time to assemble. Starting with the mirror, I added just enough CA glue to hold the cardstock in place because I don't want it slipping around. Then moving on to the pieces of the frame. When you're making any layered laser art, adding score lines will make your life so much easier because you can use them as reference and know exactly where to place your pieces. And the final piece. I chose E6000 over CA glue because it has a stronger hold. And last but not least, to truly make this wall art, we need a hanger. I have this variety set of hangers I use often, but if you don't have any on hand, you could also laser cut them. And quick reminder, because we use 3mm MDF and 2 pieces of it, the screws for our hooks cannot be more than 6mm to avoid screwing through the front. And there you have it. I hope this project inspired you to make your own fun and eye-catching mirror. And if you want to make this exact piece yourself, I'll be linking the design file I used in this video below. And if you haven't seen the first video on how to get the perfect mirror engraved settings, make sure you watch that next. Let me know in the comments what phrase or design you'd put on your own mirror, and until next time, stay inspired.